Now, can you all hear? If somebody just has to let me know because I was not on mute. It's just my anyone Bueller. Okay, I'm gonna have to redo the intro. So, welcome to Through a Glass Darkly Radio. You're listening to us on United Public Radio. The intro song was "Mark of the Doomslayer" by Karl Casey at White Bat Audio. Okay, I hope the regulars are here. Good to hear from you. Sometimes I literally have to unplug my microphone and then replug it in for people to hear it. So hopefully all the regulars are here. This one is a short one. So as you all know, for full disclosure, I come up with the topic. I come up with what I want to talk about the topic, but AI generates a script and then I run with it. Okay, I don't do that for any of my other podcasts in terms of for interviews and stuff like that. That's all organic. This is efficiency in motion. So we'll figure out what to cover after I get through the main broadcast. So without further ado, let's get started and then we'll see how long I can drag this one out. All right. So the Vatican's secret archives and extraterrestrial contact, allegations and theories. The Vatican has long captured the imagination of conspiracy theorists and believers in the paranormal. In particular, its secret archives, now formally the Vatican Apostolic Archives, or I guess formally, yeah, they're formal. That's what they're formally called, are often rumored to hold evidence of extraterrestrial contact or knowledge of non-human intelligences. Over the years, a number of intriguing claims have emerged. Stories of popes and priests conversing with otherworldly beings, speculation about hidden UFO files, and even suggestions that the Catholic Church is bracing for an alien revelation. How much of this is fact or pious legend? This report will delve into these allegations, from the Fatima apparitions of 1917 and the prophecies of Padre Pio to the whispers of Jesuit exorcists like Malachi Martin, and up to modern tales of a Vatican-operated Lucifer, and that's an acronym, telescope scanning the skies. We will examine documented statements and their context alongside more speculative claims, noting clearly what is verified history and what lies in the realm of theory or myth. The goal is a compelling yet balanced exploration, accessible to a general audience, but detailed enough for those familiar with esoteric and paranormal lore. Vatican archives and alleged alien records. For centuries, the content of the Vatican's archives, over 50 miles of shelves of documents, remained shrouded in mystery. Some believe these vaults contain records of UFO sightings and even direct alien contact. Such ideas gained new life in 2023 when former U.S. intelligence official David Grush testified that the Vatican was involved in covering up UFO secrets. Grush claimed that in 1933, a UFO crash in fascist Italy was communicated to the United States through Pope Pius XII, effectively back-channeling the information to help the U.S. obtain the crashed craft. Vatican officials greeted this assertion with skepticism. An archivist, Marco Grilli, likened the queries about UFO documents to requests for the personal letters of Pontius Pilate or the Virgin Mary. In other words, something fanciful. Instead of Grush's allegation, one can laugh at it. Indeed, the Vatican formally denies that its archives contain any evidence of extraterrestrial life, stating that, quote, there is no document in the archives that regards extraterrestrial life, end quote, and scholars should be, quote, dissuaded from futile and unproductive attempts in the Apostolic Archive, end quote. Yet the allure of possible hidden knowledge persists. In 2016, WikiLeaks released emails from Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta, which fueled such speculation. In one exchange, Apollo 14 astronaut Edgar Mitchell wrote to Podesta, urging a meeting about disclosure of ET information and zero-point energy, noting that a Catholic colleague would bring us up to date on the Vatican awareness of ETI, or extraterrestrial intelligence. This suggested that at least some in the UFO community believed the Vatican had inside knowledge. And indeed, high-ranking churchmen have shown interest in the topic. In the early 2000s, Monsignor Corrado Balducci, a veteran Vatican theologian and exorcist, went on Italian television multiple times to assert that extraterrestrial contact is a real phenomenon, even claiming the Vatican received reports from its embassies worldwide about UFO encounters. Balducci emphasized that such encounters are not demonic, not due to psychological impairment, not a case of entity attachment, but should be studied carefully. This remarkable claim from an insider lent some credence in believers' eyes to the idea that the church quietly collects information on unexplained aerial phenomena. More recently, religious studies scholar Diana Walsh-Pasulka, in her 2019 book, American Cosmic, reported finding many references to strange aerial events in historical church records, from nuns witnessing glowing orbs entering their cells to houses levitating, even once deemed miraculous, but which might be better understood as UFO-type occurrences in today's terms. Stanford professor Dr. Gary Nolan has likewise argued that the Vatican's archives represent, quote, the oldest library of paranormal or supernatural knowledge still extant, end quote. Potentially a treasure trove if one knows where to look. It's no wonder a team of scientists and historians in 2024 formally requested access to scour the archives for UFO-related material. Despite these intrigues, to date, no verified documents of alien contact have emerged from the Vatican's vaults. Church officials maintain a stance of openness to scientific discovery, but also caution. As one archive official flatly stated in response to Grush's testimony, quote, the prefect wants to affirm that no document in the archives regards extraterrestrial life, end quote. In short, the allegations of secret ET files remain unproven. The very mystique of the secret archives, however, ensures they will continue to be a focal point for such theories. Even Malachi Martin, a former Jesuit who had actually worked inside the Vatican, once hinted to broadcaster Art Bell about, quote, vast and mysterious archives hidden beneath Rome, end quote, describing, quote, an underground network of secret documents stretching 7 miles, end quote, accessible only via special electrical lighting as one walks the corridors. That image, straight from a thriller novel, encapsulates why the Vatican is a magnet for conspiracies. If one imagines any institution might hide cosmic secrets, it is the one housing centuries of the world's spiritual and historical mysteries. All right, let me just check very quickly on. All right. Okay, John's writing, they never smuggled Nazis out, too. No UFOs, no Nazis. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they definitely smuggled. Well, they helped in Paperclip. There's no doubt about that. Anyway, all right, let's get back to it. Love the sarcasm, John. Catholic clergy and otherworldly encounters. A number of Catholic clergy, saints, exorcists, and astronomers alike, have been linked to claims about otherworldly beings. Here, we highlight 3 especially notable figures and groups, and what has been said about their roles. First, we'll start with St. Padre Pio, who was born in 1887 and died in 1968. An Italian Capuchin friar, renowned for his mystical experiences in stigmata. Padre Pio reportedly acknowledged intelligent life on other planets. In a dialogue documented by his fellow friars, Pio was asked if God created beings on other worlds. He replied emphatically, quote, "What else? Do you think they don't exist and that God's omnipotence is limited to this small planet Earth?" End quote. He even elaborated that, quote, "On other planets, other beings exist who did not sin and fall as we did," end quote. This astonishing statement, placing unfallen extraterrestrials in a Christian framework, shows Pio's view that God's creation is not confined to Earth. It aligns with his spiritual outlook that the universe is full of God's glory. It's worth noting that Pio's prophecy of the 3 days of darkness, a chastisement where demons would roam the earth, is often cited in apocalyptic circles, but it pertains to spiritual warfare rather than aliens. Padre Pio's openness to cosmic life was echoed decades later by Pope John Paul II. In 1999, when a child asks Pope John Paul II, "Are there any aliens?" the Pope gently replied, quote, "Always remember, they are children of God as we are," end quote. Such statements suggest that in Catholic thought, extraterrestrial beings, if they exist, would be seen as part of God's family of creation, not necessarily as enemies. Then we have Father Malachi Martin, born in 1921, died 1999. Malachi Martin was a Jesuit priest, Vatican insider, and exorcist who later turned whistleblower/novelist. He claimed to have read the elusive Third Secret of Fatima, which was a prophetic warning supposedly given by the Virgin Mary in 1917, and hinted that it was, quote, "worse than your worst nightmare, multiplied exponentially," end quote. Bound by oath not to reveal it directly, Martin nevertheless described it as a vision of a great apostasy and catastrophe within the church. In radio interviews with Art Bell in the 1990s, Martin also made cryptic remarks linking astronomy and prophecy. When asked why the Vatican was so invested in an observatory on Mount Graham, Arizona, Martin hinted that high-ranking church officials were tracking something significant approaching Earth. Wow, I never heard that. He stopped short of calling it aliens, but urged listeners to watch the skies in the coming years. Notably, Martin confirmed that the church is deeply interested in the possibility of extraterrestrial life, precisely because of its theological implications. He warned Art Bell that if an advanced ET species were confirmed, it would be the most significant crisis in church history, greater than any past schism or upheaval, because it would raise fundamental questions about mankind's place in salvation history. Martin did not say aliens were demons. In fact, he acknowledged Balducci's point that not all unexplained encounters are demonic, but as an exorcist, he was keenly aware of deception. He cautioned that without concrete proof, much about UFOs remains speculation, like nitroglycerin ready to explode if mishandled. Malachi Martin's blend of apocalyptic prophecy, Vatican intrigue, and cosmic speculation has made him a central figure in UFO and Catholic conspiracy literature. His credibility is debated. He left the Jesuits, and some say he embellished stories, but his insider perspective was undeniably unique. Then we have the Jesuit order, astronomers and exorcists, the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits. They play an interesting role, or dual role, in these narratives. On the one hand, Jesuits have been pioneers of astronomy for the Church since the 16th century, running the official Vatican Observatory. On the other hand, Jesuits have served as theologians and exorcists dealing with demonic phenomena. This has placed the order at the crossroads of science and the supernatural. Modern Jesuit astronomers, like Brother Guy Consamagno, S.J. S.J., and Father Jose Gabriel Funes, S.J., Society of Jesus, have openly discussed extraterrestrial life in a positive light. Father Funes, as director of the observatory, stated, quote, "There is no conflict between believing in God and in the possibility of extraterrestrial brothers, perhaps more evolved than humans." Jesuit research even held a 2009 conference on astrobiology, signaling the Church's serious interest in life beyond Earth. Consul Magno famously said he would baptize an alien if one requested it, a playful way to affirm that ET too would be a creature under God. Contrasting this scientific openness, Jesuit-trained exorcists like Malachi Martin and non-Jesuit peers like the late Gabriel Amorth of Rome have confronted claims of demonic activity, sometimes speculating an overlap with UFO phenomenon. Corrado de Balducci, though not a Jesuit, was close to many Jesuit scholars in Rome, and his position was striking. He asserted on Italian TV that the Vatican knows of UFO encounters via its diplomats. He firmly rejected the idea that aliens are demons or hallucinations. It's notable that Balducci and Consul Magno both point to a consistent theological stance. If aliens exist, they, like angels or human souls, are part of God's creation, not automatically devils or threats. Nonetheless, conspiracy theorists often cast the Jesuits as shadowy figures with secret knowledge. Authors Tom Horn and Chris Putnam, for example, allege that Jesuit astronomers at Mount Graham privately spoke of an alien savior and even suggested, without evidence, that Jesus Christ might have an extraterrestrial origin, a sensational claim the Vatican flatly does not endorse. In truth, the Jesuit order's involvement in these matters shows the Catholic Church attempting to study non-human intelligences in both spiritual and scientific dimensions, discerning spirits via exorcism and scanning the heavens via telescope. And then now we move to Fatima. Was it a Marian miracle or an extraterrestrial event? One of the 20th century's most famous religious mysteries is the Fatima apparitions of 1917. Between May and October of that year, 3 shepherd children in Fatima, Portugal, reported monthly visions of the Virgin Mary, who imparted prophetic secrets and promised a public miracle on October 13th, 1917. On that day, a vast crowd of 50,000 plus gathered in the rain-sodden Cova da Iria field and witnessed what has been called the miracle of the sun. According to numerous eyewitness reports, the overcast sky suddenly cleared, and the sun was seen as a spinning disk, emitting multicolored light. It careened in the sky, zigzagging and seeming to plunge toward the earth, causing many to cry out in fear. Then it returned to normal. Bystanders found their previously wet clothes inexplicably dry. The Catholic Church accepted this event as a genuine miracle, a divine sign to confirm the truth of the apparitions. The 3 secrets of Fatima, revealed by the children, were interpreted as prophetic visions, one of hell, one predicting World War II and the rise of Soviet communism, and a third part kept confidential by the Vatican until the year 2000. When the Vatican finally published the third secret, it described a vision of a bishop in white, understood to be the Pope, moving through a ruined city and being killed by soldiers, which Pope John Paul II interpreted as foretelling the 1981 assassination attempt on him. However, many Fatima devotees felt something was missing. suspecting that the real third secret spoke of apocalyptic faith loss or satanic infiltration at the highest levels of the church. Indeed, prior to its release, Cardinal Ratzinger, later Pope Benedict XVI, had hinted that the secret concerned dangers to the faith. And the last times, Malachi Martin, who read The Secret in 1960, said it was not 20 years away from fulfillment when he spoke in the 1990s, and implied it would involve a great apostasy within the church. This background fueled decades of conspiracy theories that the Vatican had suppressed a dire warning from Our Lady about end times, possibly involving natural disasters or cosmic events. Adding another layer of mystery, UFO researchers have reinterpreted the Fatima events in extraterrestrial terms. In the 1970s, and especially the 1980s, some authors noted that the miracle of the sun sounds in modern language like a classic UFO sighting or aerial phenomena. The spinning disc-like sun could have been an unidentified craft or an atmospheric UFO display, they suggest, and the radiant female figure seen by the children might not have been the Virgin Mary at all, but an alien being using religious imagery. Between 2000 and 2006, two Portuguese historians, Joaquim Fernandes and Fina Darmada, published Heavenly Lights and Celestial Secrets, which boldly argue that the entities encountered by the children at Fatima were not deities from heaven, but rather alien beings visiting from elsewhere in the cosmos. They uncovered early records indicating that the children's initial descriptions of the apparition differed from later Catholic iconography. For instance, 10-year-old Lucia said the lady, quote, was small, end quote, about a meter tall, spoke without moving her lips, and wore a strange outfit of white with a skirt and jacket and a spherical light globe at her waist. The being never identified herself explicitly as Mary during the apparitions. When Lucia asked where she came from, the lady simply pointed to the sky and said, "From up there." Only later, under leading questioning, did the children and the local clergy assume she was the Virgin Mary, Our Lady of the Rosary. Fernandez and Darmada alleged that Jesuit priests in 1917 helped promote the interpretation of a Marian miracle and concocted a cover story to fit Catholic expectations. In their view, a more extraterrestrial explanation fits the phenomena. A UFO staged the solar miracle, and an alien intelligence delivered messages in the guise of the Virgin, either out of benevolence or to guide humanity away from war. These authors even claim a Jesuit conspiracy to suppress the true origin of the Fatima prophecies in order to maintain the religious narrative. So was Fatima a miracle or a close encounter? The Catholic Church stands by its conclusion that it was a private revelation from God through the Virgin Mary, intended to strengthen faith and warn against sin. No evidence has emerged to concretely tie Fatima to extraterrestrials, and the children themselves grew up to be pious religious figures. Sister Lucia became a nun who never suggested a sci-fi element. However, the UFO theory of Fatima remains a popular discussion in paranormal circles. Even respected researchers note that Fatima has many hallmarks of anomalous phenomena: strange lights, a silvery disk, messages imparted to human intermediaries, and psychological effects on witnesses. Dr. Diana Pasolka, the scholar mentioned earlier, points out that Catholic history is replete with events that ufologists might call encounters. She suggests we might reread some saintly visions or miracles as part of the same continuum as modern UFO sightings. Fatima is a case in point. In the end, whether one believes the miracle of the sun was a genuine divine sign or an extraordinary UFO event, or some unknown natural phenomenon, it undeniably links the religious and the unexplained. Fatima shows how an event can be sacred to one person and ufological to another, yet both interpretations grapple with realities beyond the ordinary. All right, let's take a quick break to see how folks are doing. Okay, don't care about that. All right, Tribble Nubbins, good to see you, my friend, writes, the day before the first images from the first rover on Mars came in, the Vatican said something like, if aliens exist, they're God's children too. It was interesting. I remember that announcement. Interesting. Poindexter, good to see you. And yes, well, good. Good that to hear that it's interesting thus far. All right. I think most of the regulars are still used to Sundays, so hopefully more folks who are typically here show up, because there ain't going to be a show tomorrow night. It's shifted to Saturday night, prime time. All right, let's just get back to it. The Lucifer Telescope and Vatican skywatching. No discussion of the Vatican and aliens would be complete without addressing the sensational stories around the Vatican's observatory on Mount Graham in Arizona, specifically the famed Lucifer Telescope. Despite the ominous name, Lucifer isn't actually a telescope owned by the Vatican, nor was it named after the devil to be provocative. The reality is more mundane and scientific, though it has been distorted into modern myth. What Lucifer really is: the Large Binocular Telescope, LBT, on Mount Graham, one of the world's most advanced observatories, has a powerful near-infrared camera and spectrograph attached to it, built by a consortium of German universities. That instrument was given the acronym LUCIFER, standing for Large Binocular Telescope Near-Infrared Utility with Camera and Integral Field Unit for Extragalactic Research. The cheeky acronym was chosen by its German creators, who admitted they just thought Lucifer sounded cool as the Latin name for the morning star and didn't mind the diabolical connotations. The instrument, chilling to minus 213 degrees centigrade for optimal sensitivity, allows astronomers to peer through cosmic dust and see newborn stars and distant galaxies in infrared. It just so happens that the LBT is located right next door to the Vatican Advanced Technology Telescope, or the VAT, which is the Vatican's own smaller telescope on Mount Graham, run by Jesuit priests. So in a geographic coincidence, the Catholic Church's observatory is literally adjacent to an instrument named Lucifer. This delightful irony was not lost on conspiracy theorists. So the conspiracy claims, okay, so we're just going to go into conspiracy now. A popular narrative emerged that the Vatican is using a telescope named Lucifer to look for aliens or the second coming. Fundamentalist and New Age conspiracy websites exploded with claims that the church was actively monitoring something approaching the earth. Some wove an elaborate tale that the Vatican, in league with secular powers, knows an alien savior or planetary object like Nibiru is inbound and is preparing for a kind of disclosure or end times announcement. The name Lucifer means light bearer, is thus interpreted as a nod to Luciferian satanic influence, or a code word for the morning star heralding an alien Christ. Authors Tom Horn and Chris Putnam, in their 2013 book Exo Vaticana, even alleged they were shown around the Mount Graham facility by Jesuits, who freely spoke of UFOs frequently spotted in the observatory's cameras. They further claimed that Brother Guy Consolmagno, Society of Jesus, a Vatican astronomer, shared with them a private document pondering the theological implications of advanced ET life, including a line that contemporary societies will soon look to aliens to be saviors of humankind. His word, not mine. In Horn and Putnam's sensational retelling, Vatican astronomers supposedly hinted that Jesus might have been connected to an extraterrestrial lineage, an interpretation far outside any mainstream Catholic theology. These claims have been heavily criticized and not corroborated by the Vatican or independent sources. In fact, Rational Wiki dryly notes that this entire Lucifer telescope conspiracy was essentially concocted by Horn, Putnam, and other evangelical figures, and then amplified on venues like the Jim Bakker Show. It describes them as propagating the idea that the Vatican is in possession of a telescope named Lucifer, which they have used to find extraterrestrials, and are keeping the discovery of ET secret. In reality, the Vatican does not own Lucifer. The instrument belongs to the LBT, nor did it name it. The Vatican had no say in the acronym. The Vatican's own telescope on Mount Graham is the VAT, and its nickname is far more benign, quote unquote, the Pope's scope. The Vatican Advanced Technology Telescope, nicknamed the Pope Scope, is on Mount Graham in Arizona. But why does the Vatican have an observatory there? In short, to participate in scientific discovery and reconcile faith with progress. The Catholic Church has a long tradition of astronomy, dating to Pope Gregory XIII calendar reform in 1582, and the Jesuit mathematicians who helped implement it. By hosting telescopes, first in the Papal Summer Palace at Castle Gandolfo, Italy, and later in Arizona for better viewing conditions, the Vatican emphasizes that truth cannot contradict truth. Scientific truth and spiritual truth are both from God. The Jesuit priests at the VAT conduct research on galaxies, star clusters, meteorites, and yes, exoplanets. Father Paul Gabor, Society of Jesus, for example, specializes in extrasolar planet detection. The Lucifer instrument, with its ability to penetrate cosmic dust, complements these efforts by searching for distant planets and star-forming regions. Publicly, Vatican astronomers have said their work is sometimes misinterpreted by conspiracy buffs. Father Jose Funes once laughed about calls asking if he was tracking Nibiru, the rumored rogue planet. No, I assure you we are not spying on an incoming asteroid or alien spaceship. Instead, he said, if God is the creator of all, then discovering any part of creation, even alien life, is a way to glorify God. That said, Mount Graham's observatories have been at the heart of at least one intriguing rumor. In the late 1990s, when Father Malachi Martin hinted that something was approaching that concerned the Vatican, many speculated he meant the return of a celestial object. Some linked this to an idea that the Star of Bethlehem might have been an ET spacecraft, and that a similar sign in the sky will precede Christ's second coming, something the Vatican might be watching for. These ideas are more speculative theology than fact, but they illustrate how the presence of the Vatican telescope, named after the Lightbringer, can ignite imaginations. Despite the ominous acronym, Lucifer's actual use is entirely scientific. For example, mapping star formation in distant galaxies. If Vatican astronomers hope to find anything, it is perhaps evidence of planets that could harbor life, a discovery that would raise profound religious questions, but not destroy faith. Brother Consolmagno has said that finding aliens would be like finding a lost brother who we didn't know existed until now, and that he would happily baptize an extraterrestrial if it asked, quipping that any entity with a soul, yes, should be offered baptism. In Catholic teaching, baptism is voluntary, so an alien would presumably have to consent and understand it, which puts the joke in perspective. The bottom line is the Vatican isn't scanning the skies in fear or secrecy, but in curiosity and hope. The Lucifer conspiracy theorists make for interesting plots, but they should not be confused with the church's real stance, which is far more open and benign. All right, let's take comments for a moment here. Poindexter writes, I think UAP sightings have inspired religious mythology throughout history. That's possible. Roger Claiborne has said, rarely ever see UFOs today. Sometimes I wonder if it's because our tech is good enough to take them down, so they seldom visit us anymore. Tribble Nubbins is writing, you guys remember that solar observatory that got raided by the FBI and Blackhawks and shut down? Allegedly, they got some cool images of weird stuff at the sun, probably the beer volcanoes. No, I never heard of that. Can somebody quickly research that and find out if there's anything to that? Spider bite is, similar to me as like, Roger Claiborne is saying, so that's why they keep the tech hidden, so they can fly in a fake Jesus and pretend he's alien. Who knows? Yeah, they did. Poindexter writes they also condemned Galileo. Gary Dixon is writing, hail classical Greek. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Spiderbite writes, the UFOs are probably appearing in different forms. Yeah, or disguising themselves, or who knows, any number of different possibilities could exist. All right, we're going to just get back to it. Framing non-human intelligences in Catholic thought. How would or does the Vatican intellectually and theologically deal with the concept of non-human intelligences, or NHI, whether we call them extraterrestrials, aliens, or something else? Throughout history, the Church has actually shown a remarkable flexibility on this matter. Far from being dogmatically opposed to life on other worlds, many great Catholic minds pondered it openly. Just to offer a historical perspective, as far back as the 15th century, Cardinal Nicholas of Cusa speculated that the stars were other suns with their own inhabited worlds, and this was not condemned by the Church. In the 18th to 19th centuries, priests and theologians commonly discussed the possibility of ET life. Some even wrote books about the inhabitants of other planets. The Church's stance was that Scripture and doctrine do not explicitly exclude rational beings elsewhere. No less a figure than St. Augustine, or St. Augustine, entertained the existence of antipodes, people on the opposite side of a round earth, and other non-human rational creatures, so long as they were understood as creatures of God. In 1908, the Vatican's newspaper stated that belief in the existence of Martians was not against Catholic faith. In short, Catholic theology has room for a very large cosmos. When it comes to extraterrestrials and salvation, a recurring theological question is, would aliens have souls? Did Christ's redemption apply to them? The common view among modern theologians, including Jesuit scholars, is yes. If they are intelligent and free, they would have immortal souls as part of God's creation. Perhaps they never fell into sin, as Padre Pio's thought possible for some worlds. Or if they did, God's plan for their salvation might differ. C.S. Lewis once imagined a scenario like this in his sci-fi novels. Pope St. Paul II hinted at this cosmic breath of salvation when he said the Church's universality could include aliens. They would still be, quote-unquote, children of God, even if biologically different. Pope Francis, too, remarked in a 2014 homily that if a Martian came seeking baptism, who am I to close the door? Emphasizing God's mercy is for all creatures who seek him. However, Malachi Martin cautioned that if we ever confirm extraterrestrial life formally, it will pose hard questions for the church. Are these beings unfallen? If not, did Christ's incarnation on earth redeem them? Or would they have their own form of revelation? Without official answers, the Vatican has quietly encouraged study and dialogue on these matters, rather than issuing premature doctrine. Angels, demons, or space brothers. Catholicism already believes in non-human intelligences of a sort, namely angels and demons, which are pure spirits. Throughout the Bible and tradition, there is an acceptance of non-human persons, good and evil, interacting with humanity. Some Catholic thinkers speculate that if aliens exist, they might blur the line between the purely spiritual and the material. For example, could what ancient peoples called angels have sometimes been aliens or vice versa? Interestingly, in 1978, Father Domenico Grasso, a Jesuit, wrote that an advanced alien civilization might be part of God's providence to help humanity, analogous to angels. On the flip side, there are those in the church, and more often in fundamentalist Protestant circles, who claim that UFO phenomena are demonic tricks. They point to cases of alien abductions, stopped by prayer or the name of Jesus as evidence that these visions are not from distant planets, but from spiritual realms of deception. The Vatican has not endorsed this view. Officially, it stays neutral, acknowledging most UFO sightings are likely natural or human-made phenomena, and that some alleged abduction experiences could be psychological or demonic, but each case would require careful discernment. Monsignor Balducci took a nuanced stance. He said some UFO encounters might be demonic or hallucination, but many are real phenomena not yet explained. He saw no doctrinal reason to assume all aliens are demons. Rather, if they exist, it's because God made them too. In regard to preparing the faithful, in recent years, the Vatican has shown a keen interest in fostering conversation on cosmic life, perhaps to ensure that if contact happens, it won't cause a spiritual crisis. In 2009, the Pontifical Academy of Sciences held a conference on the astrobiological implications of life beyond Earth. In 2023, Gary Nolan's Soul Foundation approached the Vatican to collaborate on studying the societal impact of UFO disclosure, noting that the Church's global influence and experience with guiding people's beliefs could be invaluable. There's even a theological term, astrotheology, emerging, exploring how doctrines like the incarnation or original sin would apply in a universe with multiple sentient races. While this might sound abstract, it indicates that the Catholic framework is adaptable. The faith that weathered Galileo's discoveries and Darwin's evolution can likely handle aliens as well. As Father Funes said, just as there is a multiplicity of creatures on Earth, there could be other beings, even intelligent ones, or there are other beings, even intelligent, created by God. This does not contradict our faith because we cannot put limits on God's creative freedom. And as Pope Francis quipped in 2015, until America was discovered, we thought it didn't exist. In every case, we should stick to what science tells us, while knowing the Creator is infinitely greater than our knowledge. In essence, Catholicism sees any truth about the universe as ultimately pointing back to God. So if tomorrow astronomers announce the discovery of alien neighbors, the Church would seek to baptize or spiritually welcome them, not bury its head in the sand. All right. Oops. Gary Dixon is saying, the devil is a gentleman. Spiderbite writes, Myron the Martian wants to destroy the Earth. The Gray Owl is confused. What day is it? It's Saturday, my friend. I made the announcement last week that we were moving from Sunday nights to Saturday nights. It's because there's more traffic on. It's a bigger audience apparently on Saturday nights. So I'm moving up in the world, my friend. So yes, it is Saturday. It is not Sunday. You are not confused. Although Spiderbite is adding to the confusion and telling Gray Owl that it is Sunday now. But it probably is Sunday where Spiderbite is, but it's Saturday where Gray Owl is. Gray Owl is saying probable forms are likely manifesting in probable appearances. Yep. So Roger Claiborne is, Saturday in the U.S. is responding. Yep. I didn't see your comment, Spiderbite. I just got to it, but Spiderbite basically said what I said. Spiderbite said, Gray Owl, it's probably Saturday for you. It's Sunday for me because I'm in the future, which Spiderbite is. Gray Owl is quoting the great Morrissey. Every day is like Sunday. Tribble Nubbins is writing, I'm so far in the future. I got some Wednesday in me, messing with the forever outside this pocket universe. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Fred's writing no mention of Edgar Mitchell in his email to Podesta about Vatican knowledge of ETs. No, I mentioned it at the very beginning. It is definitely in there. I promise you. Those words passed through my lips to God's ears. All right. I'm about to finish the script, folks. And I'm going to try to drag it out. Try to read it slowly. Yeah, Fred's writing, sorry, I got in late, forgot about the change in schedule. I told you my crew might get confused. But thank you for figuring it out, Fred. Hey, Miss Tammy, good to see you. Okay, let's get back to the conclusion. I'm going to read very slowly so I can stretch this one out. I'm already delaying right now, just buying time. I'm tap dancing right now because I don't want to run out. I don't want to run out of material, but I'm poised to run out pretty early. All right, here we go. Let's get back to it. So in conclusion, from secret archives to celestial visions, from mountaintop telescopes to ancient prophecy, we've traversed a fascinating landscape where the Vatican meets the extraterrestrial. It's a realm where verified history and fervent speculation intertwine. On one hand, we have documented openness, prominent churchmen acknowledging the possibility of alien life and insisting it poses no threat to faith. The Vatican's own scientific investments and even hints that historical miracles might be reread through a modern lens. On the other hand, we have a rich tapestry of legends and theories. A pope allegedly chatting with a spaceman in the gardens of Castel Gandolfo. Whispers of UFO crash secrets trading during World War II. Jesuit astronomers scanning for an alien messiah. And Marian apparitions recast as cosmic encounters. For a general audience, the takeaway is this. The Catholic Church does not officially claim to be hiding aliens in the basement, nor is it summoning demons through telescopes. It does, however, maintain one of the world's oldest continuous inquiries into the heavens, and it frames whatever might be out there in fundamentally spiritual terms. All children of God, as Pope John Paul II said. The esoteric allure will always be there. After all, the idea that a 2,000-year-old religious institution might hold profound cosmic secrets is irresistibly Da Vinci Code-esque. We have seen how this allure gave rise to stories like the Third Secret of Fatima, which still inspire both devotion and conspiracy in equal measure. For those familiar with paranormal and esoteric topics, the overlap with Catholic mysticism is striking. The Church has its angels and demons. UFO lore has its Nordics and Greys. The Vatican has prophecies of chastisement. Ufology has warnings of nuclear apocalypse from Space Brothers. It is no surprise that some have attempted to connect the dots, suggesting it's all one grand narrative. But as researchers often caution, we must distinguish between evidence and conjecture. We saw that Vatican representatives, like Marco Grilli, openly dismissed some wild UFO claims, where others, like Monsignor Balducci, took UFO reports seriously, but did not view them as inherently anti-Christian. In closing, perhaps the broadest implication of all this speculation is a positive one. It shows a human desire to find unity between our oldest beliefs and our newest mysteries. The Vatican, with its blend of faith and intellectualism, provides a framework to discuss non-human intelligences, not as mere monsters or invaders, but as part of a creation we all share. Whether the truth of alleged Vatican alien connections is ever revealed or remains legend, the conversation it sparks can be enriching. It invites us to ask big questions. If we are not alone in the universe, what next? How do we see ourselves? The Vatican would likely answer, we see ourselves as part of a larger family of God's creatures. Until solid proof of ET contact emerges, this answer would remain hypothetical, but it is rooted in a consistent worldview that stretches from the biblical cosmos to the expanding universe of today. In sum, the Vatican's secret regarding aliens may simply that it's open to the possibility and has been quietly considering it for years. The real secret archives on this topic may not be hidden manuscripts in Rome, but the untapped wisdom in theology that can help humanity process the ultimate discovery. As Father Funes aptly put it, the universe is so vast that it would be arrogant to think we're the only ones if we are not alone. We would see them as another part of creation. That perspective turns a potentially fearsome revelation into an extension of fraternity. And perhaps, in an age of disclosure and mystery, that is the most compelling narrative of all. All right, that is what it is. A little note on the sources that were used to compile this. This podcast and radio show has references statements from Catholic clergy and official news sources, including Catholic News Service reporting on UFO archive research, published interviews, and writings of Padre Pio, Malachi Martin's commentary as summarized in Art Bell interviews, the research of Fernandez and Darmada on Fatima, as well as popular science articles on the Lucifer telescope and the Vatican Observatory. Claims by conspiracy writers are noted with attribution, while clear distinctions are made where the Church's verified position is documented. For example, no ET documents and archives. This blend of sources provides a factual basis while illuminating the speculative fringe that surrounds the topic. All right. That's it, and that's all, folks, in terms of my prepared remarks. So that didn't even last me an hour. I thought it was short. All right. Fortunately, there are a ton of comments I can go through. So I shall. All right. Gray Owl writes, I heard some interesting Edgar Mitchell secondhand accounts where he was saying that when in space, it's easy to slip out of your consciousness and become a different one, for example. Well, that's interesting and creepy at the same time. Gray Owl is writing, Sean, I like the Saturday vibe. It becomes us all darkly. By the way, did you jettison your Gmail? No, I got your email. I've just been extremely busy. If you send me Justin's email, I will get to him, but I have no way of contacting him. I literally just looked up who he was today. But yeah, I would definitely interview him. But just send me his email and then I can reach out. Okay, Spiderbite wrote, Nathaniel, I'm assuming you're referring to Nathaniel Gillis, talked about Fatima and the altar they had to erect. Well, that's a good point. Fast Mamba Gemma is writing, Trump and Epstein slept in the same bed. Yeah, I'm sure Trumpstein did. Oh, did I say Trumpstein? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he was president of Israel for a moment. Anyway, Loading Mike is saying, don't know if they are God's children, if they are the products of fallen ones. Here among us, unembodied, not finding rest upstairs or downstairs. I mean, anything's possible. Whatever they are, they operate surreptitiously on Earth. So, which by itself is deceptive. Okay, so Gray Owl's writing, looking forward to those two Italian brothers who are experiencers. I'm on an experiencer bar hop crawl. Just took in the entire communion audiobook last night. Man, that's deep. Well, they're half Italian. They're also half Irish. So, I mean, I don't know how you got Italian brothers when their last name is literally O'Leary. But I'll give you the benefit of the doubt, Gray. But yeah, they're half Irish, half it. Well, no, not even half Italian, actually, now that I think about it. Because their father was full blood Irish, and then their mother was half Irish, half Italian. So they're quarter Italian. You got the Celtic, which is the Celtic gene, which is another Celtic and Cherokee ancestry tend to be magnets for the phenomenon. Okay, so Fast Mama Gemma's writing, I installed Olama on my phone today with Termix, local AI, a little slow. I don't even know what Olama is. Spiderbite is saying, I think they're living here in a different light spectrum. It's possible. I mean, we only detect a narrow range between, I want to say it's like between 400 and 700 nanometers or something like that. Most of the spectrum we can't see, or the electromagnetic spectrum we can't see. Gray Owl saying, not trying to, no, we don't think you're trying to change the topic. Spider Bite writes, a spectrum our eyes don't pick up, but our cameras do. Yeah, like ultraviolet, the ultraviolet spectrum and the infrared spectrum at the low end. We don't pick those two up. Gray Owl writes, the Vatican archives look so cool. Totally got a 15th century vibe going on. Spider Bite writes, is the universe there if we're not looking at it? Are we the universe right here, right now? Is there anybody? That's what Tom Campbell would tell you, that the simulation doesn't render the experience unless there's an observer, which explains the observer effect. I really hope it's in the simulation. Roger Claiborne writes, when I was a teenager, half the people you met were claiming to see UFOs. Today, hardly anyone I meet sees anything. Still reports online, but no one I know is seeing. Well, I mean, I can give you half the explanation, at least half the explanation right now. It's because everybody's looking at these things, just constantly looking down, and they're not looking up anymore. So that's one potential reason. They're just not enough eyes in the sky. But it could also just be that they're not coming here anymore. Who knows? Okay. Tribble Nubbins is writing, the Vatican is an aesthetic the way goth is a gender. Spiderbite writes, there are demons living under the Vatican. You gotta cite a source on that one, Spiderbite. I'd be very interested in seeing what that source is. Not that I have no idea. My reaction to that is I have no idea, right? Let's see. Gray Owl said, Sean, did you check those two cats that were the individuals who interfaced with Mike Masters about the future? I did not. I don't know what their names are or anything like that. Fast Mama Jama writes, my uncle had open heart surgery. He saw the tunnel with life replay. We are in a simulation. Maybe, or it's just this reality is an advanced, it's like a school, like a Dolores Cannon school sort of thing. Okay. Gray Owl writes, okay, cool. We do not need to jettison our emails. Indie Spect, welcome. I haven't seen you before in the chat, so welcome. And thank you for participating in this night's festivities. Is writing Bobby Ray Inman, mentioned by a few people recently. He's an interesting character. Show about him. That's an interesting. Yeah, maybe I look into it. I don't know if I can come up with 2 hours. I mean, I didn't even come up with 2 hours for the Vatican, but that would be interesting. And the guy, he's probably still alive. But after the Project Unity interview he did, I doubt he'll ever surface again after that. Gray Owl wrote, I punched out some 5 to 10 minute briefs on Justin for you and emailed the links a while back, maybe when you were on vacay. Yeah, that could be. But yeah, just send me his email. Because I see that he has a book. It's like an abduction story and all that. I'm definitely interested in talking to him. So, but I don't have any way to contact him. How do we fax in comments? Well, you can't fax them in, but you can use semaphores. So, there's like flags, and if you need to use semaphores, then just, email me, and then I'll just send you an email with the code here so you can come up and like start doing the flag stuff. Okay. The left half. Not Spiderbite. I'm not sure what you mean, but the Spiderbite writes the left half. Gray Owl's writing, those bros have a really interesting archive of experiences. Yeah, I have like 3 hours of video with them, or more than 3 hours of video with them. So 3 separate episodes. So if you don't like those brothers, then, but one of them is a comedian, and like a professional comedian. We didn't cover it in the video. I mean, I edited out stuff because Sean came in a little bit later, so we restarted it. But like Chris O'Leary goes way back with like what's his name? Why am I Bill Burr, the comedian Bill Burr? Like he knows Bill Burr. He goes back with like Louis, the disgraced Louis C.K., the Me Too comedian. Like he knows all those guys. He also writes for one of the late night hosts, which he won't discuss because he wants to still have that freelance job. He just writes jokes for him. Okay, so Fred is writing Llama is the name of an openish LLM by Meta. Oh, LLAMA. I got it. Yeah, I don't want to have anything to do with Meta after the 2020 election. Nothing to do with Meta. Fastmo Gemma continues, or Llama runs DeepSeek Gemma Lava in many AI models on your PC Mac phone for free. Loading Mike said, when the chat said Italian brothers, I thought of the red and green plumbers. Oh, yeah. Mario and Luigi, right? The Super Mario brothers. Okay. Gray Owl's writing, it is a simulation, unfortunately, and every day is like Sunday. All right. Thanks, Gray Owl, for that. All right. Oh, Spiritual Ascension. Good to see you. Yeah, I guess word's getting around that, or people are remembering that this radio show got moved or got pulled into Saturday nights, which is great. Because I can already see like this topic is not as, at least I don't think it's as attractive of a topic or as exciting as a topic as previous episodes. But I can tell from the numbers that just changing the night from Sunday to Saturday night has increased the numbers. I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but anyway, good to see you, Spiritual Ascension. Spiritual Ascension writes, there are 4 massive Saturnian black box loose systems around the world. One of them is under the Vatican. Oh yeah, I will talk about upcoming guests. Let me get through the comments first. But I'm in no hurry to get through the comments because I still have 51 minutes to fill. So, but that's helpful. It gives me something else to talk about because I've been piling in episodes. I recorded 4 more episodes today and started processing the first one, and they're going to be really good. And then I have another interview scheduled for this coming weekend with somebody else that will be awesome. So I'll get to all that when we get a little bit later into the broadcast. Okay, so Spiderbite writes, I honestly have no idea, but I think there are demons or something really spooky living under the royal palace in England. I would not doubt that. Those are spooky people in general. Fast Mama Gemma is writing, we are free range chickens, but there are many others in underground bases. This is not a school. Yeah, I don't have enough evidence on any side to really know. Okay, so Gray Owl's writing recent interview with what's his name with some good uncomfortable UFO questions. Inman and the British dude. Oh yeah. Yeah, I definitely saw that. It's Jesse Michaels. And also Metzger. I forget what the guy's first name is, but okay. Fast Mama John is writing. You can use Python scripts to catch orbs, saucers, or drones with Olama. It is disclosure at your fingertips. Hey, Logan, good to see you. Good to see you. People are slowly figuring it out or remembering. I think I was pretty clear that we were moving to Saturday night. In fact, it's Saturday night and I already love that I have it on Saturday night because it's not like hanging over me on like the last day of the weekend. Like I can just destroy myself today. Like today was, I was started working at 7:30 my time, uh, and have just pretty much worked continuously until now. I took like one break to, took it like an hour out to get some food, but that's it. That's it. So I woke up, I had to do something for I have a kind of side gig at a local university. So I did like a call for that for about half hour at 8 o'clock. And then after that, I did 2 interviews with Lynn Buchanan and then spent a few hours editing his episode and then recorded two amazing interviews with Peter Levenda. And then, in fact, we were talking about doing another interview, but I'll have to remember what the topic was. I'm like blanking right now, but it was an absolutely fascinating topic because he just kept like dropping Easter eggs over and over and over again. And then of course I said some like the name of some dark occult figure that I wasn't supposed to speak out loud. And he's like, yeah, you're not supposed to say that name out loud. It's like, oops. So there's some good ones. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get 2 months. Well, we'll get into that. I want to get into like, I'm starting to think of my strategy for this channel and several other potential channels and books and anthology or collections that I might come out with next year. So we'll get into that in a second. My only constraint now is time. Okay. Fast Mama Jamma saying, I think Meta is out of Olama. Could be. Oh. Woo Riders DG. Good evening, Sean. I will email you tomorrow. Got some news, brother. I'm assuming it's got something to do with 21 Jump Street, but you can confirm. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So if you could confirm or deny the 21 Jump Street, all you got to do is say yes or no. Because I've been waiting for that one for a long time. Hey, Spiritual Ascension. Logan Clark wrote, I'd try for every Sunday, but I'd pay for it Monday morning. Indeed. Yeah, good to see you, Spiritual Ascension. Okay. By the way, like, thank you everybody for like filling in my content gap because I am terrified. I'm staring the barrel down like a 1 hour content gap because I knew the material I had was only going to last at best an hour, and it was like 3 minutes shy. So thank you for participation in the comments because it's giving me plenty of stuff to riff off of, and I'll get into channel speak and all that. But thank you for your participation. I very much appreciate it. Oh, I didn't mention this, and I need to mention this every time. If you think you are subscribed to this channel, number one, thank you very much. But please confirm, because I have 4 documented cases where people who thought they were subscribed, YouTube, helpfully unsubscribed them for whatever reason. Could be a glitch, could be malicious, no idea. They knew they were subscribed, and then suddenly they checked and they were unsubscribed. So please check if you think you're subscribed, and then resubscribe if you're surprised, and also let me know so I can kind of document it. Also, if you've been enjoying this podcast for a while, I'd really appreciate a subscription. I've been grinding at this thing for 3.5 years, and I feel like I'm trudging through molasses. I'm close to getting to 15,000, but good Lord, has it taken me forever to get to this point. So, please like, please share, and please subscribe. I really appreciate it, and I hope I've earned it. Okay, so Gray Owl's writing, yeah, what I meant was we're going to want the Mike Masters people as upcoming guests too. Yeah, I just need to know who they are. Okay, so Gray Al writes Eric Mitchell and Heidi Gadd are the Mike Masters people. They just got interviewed on podcast UFO shows at Contact in the Desert. One cat became a savant via his experience. Some crazy ish. Yeah, I love him even more after today because you just like throw in a word and he will go off on like a very intelligent, well studied. Just he is just. I mean, we were talking about the Zohar. I was just like, he just mentions it. I'm like, you gotta talk more about the Zohar. I want to know about the Zohar. So, and that wasn't the episode. We were talking about. We actually did an episode on what motivated Matt Brown, the whistleblower, to post that esoteric, son of a Bromlin, because that's his Twitter handle. But what convinced him to post that stuff about a Boromon? So anyway, yes. Fast Mama Jamma writes, Trumpstein, it sums it up in one word. I didn't vote in the last election. Luigi was not a candidate. Indeed. If looks could kill. Yeah. I'm assuming that means yes. Okay, so Gray Owl writes, maybe run the odd Third Glass Darkly Community Brain Trust through the show every now and then. That was an extremely helpful experience for your humble narrator. Yeah, I should do that. I need to do some more open lines sort of stuff. I kind of started experimenting with it, but people were kind of surprised. They didn't really prepare. So Gray Owl writes about the unsubscribing. Yeah, it's intentional. YouTube is a bit of an unwieldy beast. Careful out there, everyone. Maybe. I mean, there's no evidence to suggest it's to point either direction. So I'll give YouTube the benefit of the doubt. Okay, so Fast Manager, I got to 1111 PlayStation friends this week. It's an auspicious number. Yeah, Gray Owl writes, yeah, Lavenda is one deep cat. Okay, so Fast Mama Jamma, all crazy search and destroy kids. So Fred writes, I think most big to medium-sized churches know about ETs because all these high-level propler, I don't know, who know are going to or high-level, I don't know, are going to comment to their religious leaders to make sense of it all. Yeah, okay, high-level parish leaders, maybe. Okay, yeah. Gray Owl's responding to the Matt Brown Matrix idea. So, all yes, great thing to run down. The Matt Brown Matrix idea is intriguing to no end. Okay. Huh. So, Woo Riders DG writes, Sean, YouTube vertical live later at night helps grow channels more quickly. Yeah, I just hate that format. I can't stand it because I guess first of all, I hate the vertical format. It drives me crazy. I think it looks like crap. Like I did shorts, spent a ton of time working on them. I get better views on regular format than I do on shorts. Who knows? Maybe it'll change at some point. But I if I did a vertical live, I would need maybe I should experiment with it. But I need to figure out if I can do it on StreamYard in a way that I can still preserve a quality. But we'll see. We'll see. I'll look into it because you're probably right. You know. So Gray Owl's writing, oh, but there is much evidence and other guests I recommend. Emailed you his stuff, probably when you're on vacation. We'll shoot it all over Google Whistleblower. He's created a system that can see what they're up to. Yeah, Spiritual Ascension's writing such an annoying format. No, I didn't interview Matt Brown. I want to be very clear. I did. So Logan Clark is writing, how did I miss the Matt Brown podcast? You didn't. There was none. I reached out to him, no response, all that stuff. But There is an addendum there. I just interviewed Peter Lavenda about what he thought about the Matt Brown email. Gray Owl writes and has run the numbers on how easily they can sway general population. So Woo Writers GG is writing, Sean, a lot of people have been talking about Gary Nolan's interview with Jordan Peterson. Did you happen to watch any of it? I watched some of it, but I didn't really, not enough of it to comment intelligently about it. Okay, so I filmed my first orb and mystery drone last night. Oh, really? Also filmed 3 military helicopters flying over the same area 2 days ago. Definitely something going on in Washington right now. It's all connected. And you mean, by Washington, you mean Washington State, for folks who don't know you. So Logan Clark's writing, no, I understand. But no, I appreciate the... here we go. So Fast Mama Jama's writing, vertical may be good for phones. Yeah, it is. It is. And that's probably why it's popular. It's just... I have less control over like managing the quality if I do it on my iPhone. That doesn't mean that I can't manage the quality. I just haven't tried it. But you might be right. It might be because they're pushing it. It might cause, things to perform better because that just happens to be YouTube's flavor of the month. So they're probably pushing it like crazy. So. Okay, so Gray Owl writes, yeah, at Woo I saw that. It was pretty much, in my humble opinion, Nolan successfully popping Peterson's UFO cherry politely. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, me too. And even if I were using my phone, I would flip it so it was like widescreen. So, I mean, because I use my iPhone to record videos, for patrons and stuff like that. But I don't do vertical screen. I do widescreen because I just think it looks better. So I agree with you, Spiritual Ascension, who writes, I like the option to open to full screen. Fast Mama Gemma is saying, Nolan says they're already among us. No surprise, AI will spot him soon. Indeed. Hey, Elsa, good to see you. So Elsa Dillon, who I've interviewed multiple times, she has family of 10 children who are all have some contact with various non-human intelligences. So please watch the episodes that we recorded. But she writes, hello, Sean. Hope you're well. Thank you, Elsa. It's good to hear from you. Appreciate you. Roger Claiborne is writing, might be YouTube doesn't make enough advertising money, so we're trying to limit many channels' views. That could be. That could very well be the case. But still, like if somebody subscribes to you, like, it's kind of rude. Like I don't like if I subscribe to a channel, I don't want YouTube to arbitrarily decide, even if I never watch it again. Right? I don't want to be that jerk that I'm like, and subscribe. Right? I don't want to be that jerk. Like I want that channel to do well. I just, I subscribe to help them out or whatever because I know what it's like to fight for subscribers. So Logan Clark writes, Peterson has a woo-woo past. I don't remember the details, but it was shocking. Yeah. Thank you also. So she said, so glad to caught the show live. This is the new time slot for this live show. So going forward, and I can tell from the views, this is a much better spot than Sunday night. So Gray Owl writes, hey, Sean, update on my ex banned for life. Yep, still banned for life. They can't fire me. I quit them. Yeah, thanks to the Pentagon spokeswoman, basically. Right? She complained about you, it sounds like. Elsa Dillon again writes, wishing well to others, make us all abundant. Yeah, I should talk about that. So Thank you for reminding me, Elsa, even though you didn't realize you were reminding me. Let's see. News Nation comments get deleted. Any insight? Yeah, that's weird. There's probably just somebody managing. If you're critical of them, then they're probably just, at least they're deleting them, right? They're not shadow banning you. Which, if someone comes in and like all they do is trash talk me, or like, uh, normally I'm all about free speech and open debate and all that stuff, but I work my ass off on this channel, and if somebody comes in and just takes a dump on my comment section, I just shadow ban them. They don't know they're shadow banned. They just keep screaming into the void, and they're the only ones who can hear them. And the reason is it's just, I don't have, if they make like a constructive criticism, I appreciate that. I'll thank them. But if they just come in and just say, "And Lynn Buchanan, I came here to see Lynn Buchanan. I didn't come here to see the host talk at all. So the host needs to stop talking." Like those people, yeah, fuck you. Bye-bye. Right? Like I don't need that. It's not constructive. I try not to talk too much, right? But sometimes there's context, and I'm not always great with it. But there's a better way to say that. Hey, I really enjoy your channel. In this episode, you didn't really let I would have appreciated hearing more of the guest's perspective, but most of your other episodes, there are ways to deliver it. But anyway, I shouldn't be ranting. But Gray Al's writing, LOL, you're probably right. I said I wouldn't be surprised if she had a bowl of human fingers this night sitting on the desk. Elsa Dillon's writing, yep, click that red button. If rude or no manners, eject seat button. But the beautiful thing about it, though, is they can still watch the channel and they can still comment on the channel, but no one sees their comments except them. That's why I love it, because you don't anyway. Does it work in replies? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so you can reply to somebody, but here's the thing. You're not shadow banned on News Nation because you're seeing your comment deleted. If you were shadow banned, you would still see your comment. You would have no idea. Unless you talk to a friend and you said, "Did you see my comment?" And they'll be like, "No, bro, I didn't see anything." So, yeah, manners maketh the man. Although my profanity was not great. So my apologies for folks with sensitive ears. I should not have used the F word, but sometimes I have to vent. So that was just venting. So Gray Al writes, yeah, good call, Sean. Negative trash like that actually harms the vibe and all that are liking it. There, from time to time, I'll leave one of those things on there, and all of you guys, my crew, will just attack them. So, maybe I should leave some raw meat there to see what happens. But I'll experiment with it. But yeah, there's some rude people. You're just like, I get it. I got it. I try not to talk too much, but you hear it enough times and you're just like, I'll get a comment on a video that I made like 3 years ago. And you're like, yeah, I know. I was just starting out. Like, I don't do that as much now. I'm trying to get better, but I don't need to hear it for the 11th time. Okay, so Fast Mama Gemma's writing, News Nation has an agenda. One word, Cupmo. Well, yeah, they're run by the intelligence community. Roger Claiborne saying, I'm shadow banned on a lot of political news channels because I expose way too much and change the narrative being pushed by influencers. Yeah, fair enough. Logan Clark, you should get into voice acting. Is that a hint that I need work, or is that a hint that I'm decent at it? I'm just clarifying. Because I don't know. It could be sarcasm. I don't know. I don't think it is, but please confirm, Logan. Please confirm. Because I'm taking it like it was a compliment, but please confirm. Gray Owl's writing, I oppose the shadow ban, however, in principle. Yeah, I understand. In general, I do. The only place that I do it is on this particular channel. Like, I don't tend to block people on Twitter or anything like that, because I see that as more of like free speech platform. I see this as I'm producing content for free for people. And when somebody kind of comes in and says, "This has too many commercials. I can't take it. Why is too many commercials? I'm leaving. I'm not going." Okay, go pound sand, because you're watching this for free. Okay. And I put in a lot of effort into this and time. So, like, there's going to be advertisements. So I don't need people saying that, like, you're not at it. It's not constructive, right? It's just entitled and annoying. So those people, I like nuke them into the shadow ban bucket immediately. That's why. But outside of YouTube, I agree with you. Well, I do it on Spotify. I'll delete a comment because I don't have like a shadow ban function. But again, the flavor of comments that get deleted are, "the host speaks too much. Let the other person speak." And the second one is, "there are too many ads." Blah blah blah. Well, too bad. You know. Anyway, calm, happy. I'm just venting. I'm just venting. Okay, so Gray Owl's writing, I found myself self-censoring in the past unknowingly because people were going too heavy on negative feedback about one narrative. I definitely self-censor on YouTube because they will ban you for any number of crazy reasons. Fast Mama Java saying the new Y files is about media control. Totally crazy. I should check it out. I don't know if I've seen it yet. Roger Claiborne is writing, I used to get hundreds of likes and comments, but now get none except a few channels like this. Well, that's because you're not shadow banned on my channel. Yeah, so if you don't get any like likes or comments on certain channels and you've been like super critical of the host, or just you're probably shadow banned. What you should do is just ask somebody to go and check out a comment on that channel and see if they can find you. And if they can't, then they probably shadow banned you. Okay, so Elsa Dillon writes, so cute. They always have that type of voice too. Funny. Yeah, sorry. Maybe that's where I'm getting the voice actor comments. Logan Clark, your character when you're doing an annoying person gives me Hanna Barbera vibes. Yeah, I have other kind of characters, but they could get me into trouble. Okay, so Wendy Gajon, I'm sure the Vatican knows a whole lot more than we could ever imagine. Oh, 100%. 100%. Okay, so Gray Owl is saying, laugh out loud, sure, sure. You will only use the ring for the causes of good pursuits, said Eldor, Gollum, or whoever about me. No, you're making good points. I feel guilty about doing it sometimes. But then I just say, like, I'm not here to like, I'm happy to debate somebody on the show, but I'm not here to debate people in the comments on my own channel, right? And the level of effort that you have to consistently put in to produce these things with very little remuneration. Now, granted, if things work out, you can do very well on YouTube, but when you're a channel the size of mine, right, I would say I'm still paying off the investment with the profit that I make today. And I probably, if I grow at the current rate, it probably will take me another year and a half to pay back the initial investment. Now, part of the initial investment, I bought like a new laptop, which most people just do, not as an investment, but just in general. But yeah, you don't make a lot on this platform unless you have a big channel. If you have more than 100,000 subscribers, then yeah, you're probably making decent money. Yeah, if I already recognize you and you've commented a lot of times and you have a spicy comment and I remember you and I've like interacted with you for a very long time, chances are you won't get shadow banned. So, and that's, the next comment was, I hope Sean doesn't shadow ban me. I have some spicy comments, but I love this channel and content. Yeah, if I recognize you, you're basically grandfathered. Fast Mount Gem. I almost blocked Gray Owl accidentally. That was weird. Okay. Gray Owl's writing Woo Rider to Woo Rider GD. Talk to me, Goose. Have we fallen out without my getting the memo? Yeah, it's all caps lock yelling. Okay. All right. So Roger Claiborne is saying, even a lot of my original physics hypotheses get shadow banned. I am an original thinker and might be too close to classified secrets, I suspect. Fast Memory Jammer said, I got a job. I like work for deep state. Teaching people UFO hunting with AI is a passion. All right. So a few other announcements that I didn't get a chance to talk about. So I posted, let me step all the way back. So I did an interview with Lori Lothian, who is the astrologer at Lunatic Astrology. I've never done any interviews with people in that field because I don't know anything about it. So it was my first interview. But the reason I decided to talk to her first is, number one, Kelly Chase just talked about her as somebody who was interesting. So not necessarily a recommendation, but it was good enough as a recommendation for me. And the thing that distinctly separates her from any other astrologer is that she makes geopolitical predictions based on constellations and movement of the stars and things like that. So I brought her on, interviewed her about kind of geopolitics and astrology. And then also it turned out that she was one of John Mack's abductees, or experiencers that John Mack would call up and interview and stuff like that. So we did a whole episode on that. Then we did a third, not even an episode, but like a segment on, like, she just read my zodiological, whatever, my natal chart, sign and all that stuff. That one I put under behind a paywall because it's like semi-personal, but it's not like, it's basically if you're a member or a patron, right? Any level, you're able to see it if you join. So that was posted yesterday. If you have any interest in, I don't know why you would, because it's just like a personal, astrology reading, but it's interesting. I hope it comes true. Like, there's some stuff she said there. I was just like, oh, that would be awesome. That would be my dream. So, but you can see if she predicts it and it happens, you'll understand, or you'll know. You'll be there to see it in advance. Logan Clark, I literally would not see your question if you were shadow banned. I wouldn't see it. It just wouldn't show up. Right. So the fact that I can see it means that you are not shadow banned here. Planet Watching Citizen. Yeah. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hey, Jason H. Good to see you. Yep. Star maps. That's right, Elsa. Yeah. It was definitely an interesting talk. Oh boy. Fast Mama Jama was writing, Bill Gates used to come to my company meetings, also Steve Jobs. I think I work for Deep State. Ray Al writes, I enjoy your appearances, rare as they may or may not be, SPH, on other channels as guests. Oh yeah, I didn't even mention that. You just raised another. So Lori said that my life, like the way that it has progressed, was so close to my astrological chart that she was going to start new segments where she interviewed people who had life stories that mimicked what was in their natal charts. So I need to reach back out to her to find out when she's going to interview me. But that's on Lunatic Astrology, and she has a much bigger channel. It's 110,000 subscribers or something like that. And she's really, really good at what she does. Like, really good at what she does. So in terms of upcoming episodes, those are two that will be not next week, but the week after, I think. That's exactly Logan Clark. That's exactly what a shadow banner would say. But you're not. You literally, I wouldn't even see your. And you can look it up on YouTube. That's exactly. You're definitely not shadow banned. You're definitely not. Like, you're complimenting my voice acting skills. So like, you could probably take 2 dumps on my comments thing saying too many commercials. And what was the other one? Even though I hear it all the time. The host speaks too much. I just don't want to hear the host. The host is just, it's talking way too much. And I don't feel, it feels unnecessary. I don't want to. That's a slightly different voice, but. Okay, we Sagittarians must endure the curse of being the most philosophical of all the signs. Sigh. Apparently, my sun sign is Scorpio, but my rising sign is Sagittarius. I didn't know that until I talked to her, whatever that means. Hey, Crazy Cal. Good to see you. All right. So, other guests. Oops. Let me just get to the next comment. Roger Claiborne is writing, but being shadow banned so bad on the internet has me going out more in the public and discussing these things with like-minded people. Censorship will get us all out of our phones and computers. Yeah. Gray outrights makes sense to me. Fast Mama Gemma saying, John Mack was a colleague of my aunt at Harvard for many years. She's not a fan of UFOs, but she had an out-of-body experience. Interesting. Fred writes, I don't believe in astrology, but it helps to get on other channels, and it's used methodically, like Area 52 with Jesse Michaels. Yeah. Roger Claiborne is writing, and back in the public like we used to do. Yeah. So in terms of future guests, I think next week we're going with Don Yazzie, who is an experiencer who lives in the Navajo Nation. We have an episode on skinwalkers, and then we have an episode on, I can't remember, like all the other weird stuff that they see out there. And they see a lot of weird stuff. He goes into like why Skinwalker Ranch is cursed, why that happened, how it happened, good versus bad medicine men. It's some interesting stuff. But we got 2 episodes on that. I already told you about the 2 episodes with Lori Lothian. I have another Nathaniel Gillis episode because they always do well. And that's about demonic digital avatars. So, can the phenomenon reach out and touch people through AI? So you'll be, that's an interesting, and he claims it's probably going to be his last interview of the year. He's going to be on the confessionals. I mean, they've already recorded it before we recorded the episode I'm talking about. That he's going to be on the confessionals sometime in August. I don't know if my episode will appear before or after that confessionals video, but I think it's going to pop in at least my video in the second week of August. And then I talked about Lynn Buchanan's going to do an update on the 2020 to 2040 75% demise of humans remote viewing he did for a technology company back in the 1990s. And then we did one on his strangest RV sessions. And then with Peter Lavenda, we talked secret machines, war for the first episode. And in the second episode, we looked at the occult ties to the phenomena, in which case we talked about the Enochian language, why it was different, how it was formed, what Matt Brown potentially was trying to communicate by showing graphics from the Lifting the Lamp YouTube channel. And then an episode, so that's kind of the second one. I mean, they're both fascinating. And then I have an interview scheduled. Hopefully I can get 2 episodes out of, he calls himself Frater Aletheria. He is the um, creator of the Lifting the Lamp YouTube channel. He is the snapshot that Matt Brown put on his Twitter account came from this guy's channel. So I'm going to interview him next weekend. That'll probably appear at this point, I think beginning of September. I'm trying to build a massive inventory of videos for reasons I'll explain in a second. Let me just answer some of these comments. Yeah, Solite US expat writes, "Oh damn, I didn't know you were on. Just noticed." So because the radio show is doing so well on Sunday, they moved me to Saturday, which has a much larger audience. And like I can tell by just looking at the number. Well, actually, let me confirm. I'm going to look at the numbers on my end because I don't know where all this traffic's coming from. But my initial sense is that it's doing better than it would on a Sunday. But let's see. Yeah. It's not a lot better, but definitely the numbers are better. And I don't think the topic is as interesting as topics that I've had before. So Solite US expat Lori Strickler reported on 2 reports of 2 centaurs being seen out there. You know about Navajo Nation? Because Don Yazzie did kind of just throw in centaurs. And I'm like, I'm not even going to go there. That's too. He just mentioned them in passing. I'm like, I'm not going down that alley just yet. Like, but it could be the same thing Laurie Strickland's talking about. All right. So Gray Owl's writing, "I like that you got some Irish in you to laddie. I'll share my last haggis and wee dram with an Irishman that can tap dance and smoke treachery in the halls of body politic and the murky expanse of these new alien wilds." Okay, so Logan Clark writes, "If I have to go back into public, I really don't want to get shadow banned." Yeah, in public, it's just arrested. Okay, so Solite US expat said, "I thought Lynn Buchanan told everybody about that project between 2040 to 2050. Now I'm curious what he left out." Now it's 2020 to 2040. And it started with COVID. Okay, so Gray Owl's writing, "What do these pounds mean on certain comments? Is that like a 3 strike in your?" I have no idea what the numbers mean on certain comments. It might just be likes. I don't know. I don't know what you're seeing. Okay, so Roger Claiborne, "Lots of lonely women out in the public wonder where all single men are. Since most are on their computers at home, I'm getting more." Well, there is a whole genre of channels about that phenomena. You can go to Better Bachelor and you can kind of see. I'm glad I got married early, man. I'm so glad because it is a mess out there. It's just so what's happening is what these channels are saying, and this is not my genre. I don't want to get into it, but the top like 5% of men are getting the attention of 80% of the women. And what do men do? They just, because they have such a selection, they'll just, sleep with a lot of them. And then what happens is you have people who aren't in that 5%, men who aren't in that 5% who are ignored. And then by the time that women are interested in them, they have a high body count, and it's like, and these men aren't sleeping around. Many of them have never been with a woman. So there's no, and they come in with high expectations. You need to be making at least $300,000 a year. And if you're not doing this and this and this, and men are just like, I'm done. Like, not worth it. Not worth it. So anyway, leave it to Better Bachelor. Watch that. Or Pearl is another, I don't even know if that's the name of the channel. It's another thing you can check out. But Yeah, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. All right, so Solite US expat is saying, did you see the interview on Area 52 where Paul Hynek said that he had some German woman, I think, was saying she was a nanny for alien hybrids on his ship? Freaking, yeah, that is pretty weird. I didn't hear that or see it, but don't lie, Roger. Yeah, Navajo Nation. Yeah, he reported it too. Don Yazzie is his name. He actually, on this radio station, he has a show. I'm not sure which night it is. It's called Don't Whistle at Night, where they talk, indigenous people talk about experiences and stuff like that. So highly recommended. Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying to follow my passion, brother. All right, so Solite US expat is saying, "Oh, come on, Sean, you got to go down that road. Those stories are so interesting to hear." I look, I got 2 hours of two separate interviews with them, so there's plenty of stories. We just talked about Sasquatch, skinwalkers, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, exactly. Solite US expat is writing, I like this new time since it's my Sunday morning afternoon. I like it too because I'm getting more views. So I think it's awesome. So Gray Owl's writing Solite US expat. Yes, saw that. Cool about the X-ray nanny that was called in the family home. Yep. The real deal's writing. It's my birthday. No idea you were on tonight. This is a great treat. Thank you, Sean. I've never heard somebody describe this podcast as a treat, but I appreciate that. I work really hard, and it's just getting started. When I think about like 3.5 years ago, it's like you just don't know what you don't know. I mean, like I look at videos I did like a year and a half ago. The lighting's terrible. Like I just discovered lighting. Oh, put bright light in front of your face. And it's just like, oh my God, I thought I was doing a good job. And I figured out like a setting on my microphone like 2 or 3 years in that I didn't know about. Just like crazy stuff that I should have known since the beginning. So it's come a long way. So when people say this is a treat and they're entertained, I appreciate hearing that. I really, really do. So thank you, the real deal. And happy birthday. Everybody should wish the real deal a happy birthday. Okay, so Solite US expat. This is not a red pill men channel. I swear to God. So I'll read this, but we gotta stifle it because I don't want to alienate anybody. So Solite US expat is saying that's freaking nasty. I was friends with this one girl long ago when she was like 26, and she showed me didn't know how many. Oh my God, guys, she slept with maybe like 60 to 70. Yeah, it's just. I'll leave my comments to myself. Fast Mama Jamma is writing. I talked to my son about it. I am married too. I would go dancing salsa back in the day to meet the ladies. Yeah, I'm worried about my sons too because I have a son who's like super bright, but he's a little bit socially awkward, and yeah, I don't know. It's a much tougher world, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so Gray Owl, Roger Claiborne, you are possibly the most eligible Through a Glass Darkly Bachelor of 2025. You'll be snatched up off the shelf. Keep rocking it, Roger Claiborne style. All right, so my aunt's restaurant didn't make any money for 3 years. Now, 25 years later, she's a millionaire. It makes 14K a week. Slow and steady. Yeah. Yeah, because it's just steady, 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 exponential. Like that's the way it's supposed to be, but who knows? Who knows when that's going to happen? So I do have plans for a bunch of things, which I teased at, but I didn't describe yet because I'm still getting through comments. Yeah, yeah, Miss Tammy, I didn't want to talk about any of that stuff. I'm just relaying what people are saying. People are saying. All right. All right. How the hell centaurs exist? How freaking weird is it that all this mythology is actually reality? I love your channel. ChatGPT told me 4K videos get more attention from YouTube algorithms. Yeah. So this is, I don't know if I said this was Solite US expat, but it is. Yeah, I got bright light on my face. So the pound symbol seems to be a common imputed value. Tap on it and you will see it. Lots wearing shades. Does that even work? I'm just going to experiment. Bear with me here. Future's so bright, I got to wear shades. Yeah, I don't know. What do y'all think? Lose it? Keep it? What? Have you tried the Pixels app for YouTube thumbnails? No, I have not. I have not. What do people think about the shades? Just ditch them? I mean, I'm gonna have to take them off because I'm in basically a dark black room except for the light, so it's hard for me to even see and read. Let's see. Yep. Lose it. Oh yeah. I don't know. I'm struggling to read these comments. I have to actually put them on the screen. Only one thing for the shades, that rocking tank commander. Yeah, I need a haircut and I need to trim the beard. It has gotten too Grizzly Adams recently. I mean, this is like ridiculous. So I just haven't had time. I got so much stuff. Anyway, I got to take these off. But so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get 2 months of videos done ahead of time, which that implies it's something like between 16 and 20 that I want to get done. And then after I get that done, I'm going to start another YouTube channel that just dramatizes some of my short stories. I have about 50 of those. I'd like to launch that in 2026 separately. I have one video done basically for that, but I just want to get all of them done for basically a video a week. So around 52 videos, all uploaded and ready before 2026. And then just press the go button and then not worry about it for a year. See if it monetizes. If it doesn't monetize after 1 year, done. Let's see. Oh, the eyes that change color, apparently. But then I'm also going to compile a bunch of my short stories into maybe 3 or 4 more anthologies or collections. They're already done. I just have to format them, make a cover for them, which I can do now in AI without paying someone $700, and then just publish them on Amazon. So, oh yeah, I can ask him that. Solite US Expat is saying, can we have Lynn Buchanan on your radio show so we can ask him questions? Yeah, I can do that. Let me have some space between today and the time I do that because I don't want to take advantage. Yeah, the drive is not the problem. The drive and effort is not the problem. Hard work is not the problem. I don't know what the problem is, but I just keep fighting and pushing through it. Yeah, and work ethic ain't the problem. So I'll figure it out. But I'm just trying a number of different things. So, and then there's 2 novels and maybe one novella that I will probably self-publish too, because they've just been sitting kind of collecting dust, and I figure I'll just put them out into the world. If you become a member or a patron and watch the astrology video, you'll understand why. I was already thinking about this, but after that reading, now I'm like, I need to do this, because she told me some shockingly positive things that I'm like, there's no way. There's no, I can't even conceive that happening that way. But if it does, I will be the happiest man alive. So yeah. Anyway, I'll just leave it at that. So anyway, I'm trying to get about 2 months ahead so that I can spend a month not doing interviews and editing videos. for this channel, but building an inventory for that channel. And then after that month's over, then I would go back and try to build out another month of inventory. So I'm just trying to juggle a lot of this stuff. And obviously I have a full-time day job that, I'm working and stuff like that. So I'm just trying not to burn myself out. But I'm just going to keep going because I would love to do this full time, but I'm just nowhere close to it yet. Yeah, it's just like I'm just throwing as many darts on the board. Yep. Well, there's a whole thing about Saturn and all that stuff in that astrology reading about timing and all that good stuff. Yeah. All right. Anyway, I thank you everyone for generating the second half of comments for this show. I appreciate you very much. I'm glad you all decided to join. In the comments, let's see. So Solite US Expat, could you give us a hint as to one of the new updates that Lynn saw between 2020 and 2040? I'm curious why the update. Did he do another session regarding this time frame? No, he didn't do any session. It's just more has happened since then, and every time he reveals something new. One of the things that he revealed this time is that the healthcare system collapses. So, because I was like, how do we get to 75%? So that's one of the things. All right. One last thing. Again, obviously check to make sure you're still subscribed. And then in the comments, if you have anything you want me to focus on in the next meeting, otherwise I just randomly choose something and then just kind of run with it. But if you have something that you really want to see, not necessarily a guest, because that's a much more of a heavy lift, but if you have a topic that you want me to focus on that's meaty enough to last for so Solite US Expat, lovely. For now, I'm in South Korea. I wonder when the healthcare system collapses in the US between 2020 and 2040. So, yeah. So we'll get into some more of that sort of stuff. What else? Yeah, so in the comments, if you have any ideas, or not even ideas, it's not an idea farm. It's just, is there something you want me to focus on or cover in future radio show episodes? And, if it's meaty enough and interesting enough, I will definitely do it. So Solate US Expat, right? Well, from now on, I get my start on Sundays on the right track. So glad of this new chime. Yeah, I'm liking it. I'm liking it because after this, I'm actually I can relax on Sunday. I'm not kind of boxed in. I'll have more time to just edit episodes and just get stuff done tomorrow. Or if I want to take the day off, which I never do, I have that option now too. So I love this new time. And I love this new time because there's a lot more people and there's a lot more exposure. So anyway, thank you everyone for joining. I very much look forward to seeing you next week, and have a great rest of your weekend. And no, not these comments, because I'd have to go back and watch it in the comments in YouTube. So time travel, more cryptids, ET human encounters. But anyway, have a great rest of your weekend. God bless, Godspeed, and have a wonderful night. So talk soon.